Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Expansion Pack podcast, where we download this week's gaming news and we bring it straight to you. I'm your host, Danzel, aka Black Ice, joined by my co-host each and every week. We got over here on my right hand side, Manny, aka Goop Master Flex. What's going on, bro?
You already know. Stay gooping.
Stay gooping. Looking very timely in your PlayStation shirt. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Good
I
stuff. Good
saw it in
stuff.
Burlington for like $8. I was like, sure, I'll buy
All right.
it.
Then we got my man down low, Chris, aka May 25th. What's going on, bro?
Same shit, different toilet. Been a minute since I gave him that one. Uh, Nothing much. I ain't been able to game too damn much, so. But I still am here to talk about the game. That is, god damn it, what a week! What a week!
Yeah,
What
it's
a week!
definitely been an interesting week in gaming. Sounds like it's been an interesting week in you guys' lives.
Yeah,
Yeah, y'all both
yeah.
y'all both came up on the pod this morning looking like zombies. So I know it's been rough, but that's all right. Y'all haven't been getting a chance to game. I've been doing some gaming. Finally beat Elden Ring. I hit off the Age of Stars ending, so very satisfied because that final boss was stressing me the fuck out. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, we're gonna talk about some more games. Like I said,
Mhm.
with Manny's got the theme right. He's got the PlayStation shirt, so we can be talking about some PlayStation stuff. We're gonna be talking about
Mhm.
E3. But before we get into that, Chris, you already know, man. Start this off for us.
Sorry, y'all. He mentioned E3 and I got emotional. Okay. Icebreaker. Yeah, focus. This week's icebreaker is actually not if. What is a game that's kind of mid to you? Like it's not anything that special, but if they did like maybe one, maybe two things to it, it would be like S tier. Simply, like what game would it be, and what would that thing be in order to put it into the next category, right? So for me, my answer would be honestly, I was gonna single out 2K basketball, but I just think in general with 2K, just especially after this like wrestling game that's come out or whatever, we talk about this before. Them kind of going more to a game service model rather than doing what they do now. And every year that passes, to me, that shit just hits me in the head more and more and more and more. Like even with the last 2K, I bought it. It's cool for a couple of weeks, and then I put it down, and it's like hard for me to like feel motivated to want to go back into it. And I was like, damn, this game is cool, but I still kind of find it midish. It's not like outstanding or anything like that to me. It's like it's okay, but I know for a fact if they fucking did this seasonal model shit where you just downloaded a new updated roster every year with like a maybe an expansion pass of some sort to kind of give you some new options and new meta things and different dribble moves or whatever the case is, it would be so much better. And then I was thinking about it yesterday. I don't know about y'all, but I have a big thing in video games where it's like if you have them and they go on forever, it's nice to be able to take that one character you made and just keep on improving on that one character. I
Mhm.
like doing that. And I feel like the sports games would do a lot better if they allowed you to do that for a longer period of time. At least for me, because I think another part of the burnout with me with 2K is the fact that I hate having to redo the same kind of story constantly, but they just kind of tweak little parts about it to make it a little different so that way it doesn't feel the same. But in all actuality, I'm kind of doing the same shit every time I buy the game. Rather than I got this guy I've been working on for like 2-3 years. And his shit was kind of trash at first, but now I got his back. His hop step is looking kind of better now. You know what I'm saying? Like this is my guy that I put work into. To me, that works so much better. Like I would love that so much more to know that like this is my dude I've had for like 3-4 years. Yeah, he was trash, but now this dude's nice. I put the work, I put the time in, I put the work in, and it just works. Like I think if they just stopped doing this yearly release shit, man, it would really, really take the games from like here for me and push them way higher. And that's not even me talking about the actual gameplay mechanics and stuff that I kind of think that they could work on. That's one thing, but to me, that's way lesser of an issue than how these games are being like given to us nowadays, man. I just don't see the point in this yearly release shit no more. In the same sense as I don't see it in as a thing for a COD anymore. I don't think any of these games really truly benefit from yearly releases. And I think more games should be hopping on this seasonal pass model. And I don't get how sports games don't do it. I mean, literally every year is called a new season in real life. like, why are y'all not doing this? It doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know. I think that's the thing that would take 2K games and any sports games for that matter from the mid tier to top tier. Because it kills me how they do it now, man. I don't even have time to like sink my teeth into the games to me. And then on top of it, then when some of the things start feeling samey or whatever, it's just a hard recipe for me to like want to play day in and day out, you know? I don't know. But that's just me. That's my pick.
I feel you on the story aspect of it, because I feel like that's the least favorite part for me with like my career is like I don't want to have to go get drafted again and do all the same
every
bullshit.
Year, bro.
Like, oh, I'm a rookie again. Like I don't care about any of that. But I feel like the real meat and potatoes of that mode, or like my player in general, is playing online and like building your character up and getting it to 99 and all this other stuff. How do you think they would resolve that? Right, like do you make getting leveled up harder so that you can't just be 99 for forever? Because
I think that's what they would have to do. I really do. I think it would be a much more, not saying that like you leveling up your character in individual stats and shit like that would take forever, because you don't necessarily need to do that. But I would say making the actual overall levels harder to go up, I would do. And then also the badges, I would definitely make a lot of that shit probably a little bit more harder to get as well. So that way it's a little bit more of something you're working on rather than I could sit here for like 10, 20 hours and bang it out and I got everything I need and never have to do anything ever again. You know, there's got to be something, or maybe you even make the badges temporary. You know what I mean? Like they're like a thing almost like the Gatorade packs where you drink them and they're good for a couple games and then you got to re-earn it. There's got to be something that they can do to make you keep playing the game rather than you just earn everything, you got it all, you play for the year, and then you got to lose everything again and start right back where you were every single year. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something better than that.
I feel like the problem with that, though, is like, all right, so like when you're playing 2K, you know what I'm saying? You create your character and everything like that. You grind, you got this 99 overall build and everything like that, and you're done. I feel like the problem with that is when you're done, it's just like, you know, what is there else to do? You know, you got whatever season rewards, but that's it. Like, I know a lot of people do make a lot of builds and everything like that, which is nice, but like, you know, it's not something that like keep players on the game forever. That's why I can understand why every year you got to create a new character, start over. I feel like maybe there should be an option to carry on, like maybe for like my career for like seasons, for like, you know, maybe to build like at least one character's legacy. Or maybe just like reset, like, you know, have your character like that overall for like my career, but then like the multiplayer aspect, maybe just like reset it just for the simple fact that like, you know, I guess to keep the replayability for like yearly.
Yeah, I feel like just to answer the thing that you mentioned about like getting your character, you know, to a certain point, or whatever. I feel like the thing that keeps me coming back is like the competitive nature of winning. That to me is more important than necessarily getting like I get my character up to where I need him to get to because I want to win games online. That's like for me, that's the gameplay loop for me. But I also don't want to continue doing it the same gameplay, like the same grind to get to that point every single year. So I understand that. But I guess the thing that I'm curious about is like how do you sustain that over multiple years? Like let's say even if you make it harder to get to 99, there's still those tryhards that are going to get there like within that first game that you release, right?
For sure.
So now are you like, I don't know, does it make everything unbalanced because you've designed it where this should be like the way you play the game for multiple years, but there's like all these people who are fucking super tryhard and are on 99s already. And then like, you're like, let's say you're like an 85 or a 90 or whatever. Like, I guess you would have to work on heavily matchmaking for like the rec center and all those different things. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's enough in these games that to make me keep wanting to play within 1 year, but it's that initial like, okay, now a new one's out and I have to do all this shit over again. That's the part that kills me, because I don't know. I hate like, and in most games except for last year, but in most situations you have to play through like a certain point of the story before you can actually go
Yeah,
off and start playing Rex and all that stuff. And
yeah,
that's the thing that really annoys me, because I don't know, like if you pulled out all the incentive to play the my career portion of it, and you were just in the park or in the city or whatever, and that's all you had to do to build your character up, I guess I'd be okay with having to reduce some portions of it year over year, because there is enough change sometimes. But I don't know, it still sucks because it's like, all right, I gotta leave this character behind. Like, I
yeah,
have this 99, I gotta leave him behind again, and then I'm still paying $60 again to do the same grind over again.
yeah, yeah.
It's tricky.
I
So
feel
let
like
me ask y'all.
maybe
Oh, my bad, Manny. Go
no,
ahead.
I was gonna say maybe a way to compensate, like, for it not to be like everybody just sitting at a 99 overall like constantly. And I know it's like it could be exploding and everything like that, but maybe try something new instead of like. The only thing is like like this idea is probably like a good idea, but like the problem with it is like you probably can't really monetize it as much as you'd want to as a company that needs to
Mm-hmm.
profit off of it somehow.
Mm-hmm.
But like dynamically like change the characters overall depending on the
I
way
was gonna say that. Yeah.
they what is it called, perform, because like it would be unfair, like kind of like yearly, when you just like maybe like, oh, I tried the game last season, but like this season I feel like it's probably a good way to start, and the next thing you just got like a bunch of demigod 99 overalls. Like if you're playing the game, and you're just chucking up threes with a 993 overall but missing all of them somehow, you shouldn't maybe like earn those either badges back that you
Mm.
lost and everything like that, or like maybe drop an overall a little bit, just like show that you're on a coach streak,
Yeah.
something like that, to kind of like dynamically make the game a little bit more interesting, instead of just like, all right, my guys just overall I'm good, that's it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like that this is a core thing that they need to fix in general. And
Mm-hmm.
it's the idea, like, you should be penalized way more for not playing like actual basketball. So if you just run into the corner and chucking up a three every single time, that should count
Mm-hmm.
against you, and you should lose like hella overall for that. Or like, someone's wide open in the paint, you don't pass them the ball. Like actually not making good basketball plays should
Mm-hmm.
not just be like a notch against you in your teammate grade. Like, it should go against your actual overall too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Chris, what were you gonna say?
Just to kind of piggyback off your last point too, I also feel like if they were to make it like that, then they kind of would have to stop being as like stingy on the VCs and shit like that. Because if you're gonna make a game where you could actively lose your shit, then it should be a little bit easier, I think, to get some of those points to maybe get them back in some cases too. Because sometimes some of the VC grind is really crazy to me. But to piggyback off of what you said, Manny, I agree with the whole dynamic leveling and having it be like that. Because I was also going to say one thing I think that could also really work in this game is I don't understand why they don't take real life awards and apply them to like an online leaderboard in the game. So for example, say you have everybody who plays 2K on a leaderboard, and you're looking for the guy who literally plays the best defense in the whole season, and you give him the 2K Defensive Player of the Year award, and then you tie some actual good incentive to whatever it is. Like, like how Bungie sends out the folks when you beat the raids in your world's first, and you get the nice jacket, you get the belt, you get all these little things that nobody else gets, and it's like a cool little flex.
Mm-hmm.
Do the same shit. You know what I mean? Send them out a really dope ass jersey or something, or some kind of cool ass award thing, and make it so that way people are really working to do this every single season. So that way, at that point, you got the dynamic shit happening. If you perform bad, your shit comes down. You perform well, you do a little better. And on top of that, there's actual accolades you're going for. Like, I don't know how you do things like team stuff, team awards or whatever, but you can do MVP. You can do Defensive Player of the Year. You can do Most Improved. You can do a lot of the real life awards online and just keep an actual forever updating leaderboard every season. Man, I think that shit would send competitive shit through the roof when it comes to these kind of games. And they never do it. they never do it. How are y'all not doing that? To at least put an MVP? Even if y'all didn't want to do the other ones, I don't get how y'all don't do MVP. The best player in 2K that year, out of everybody, gets this cool ass shit. Why not?
I mean, I can see why, because it's kind of hard to pinpoint one person and like be
No,
the
it ain't. You
best.
got the
You can
stats.
definitely do statistics. Like if you
You got
look
the
at like
stats.
points scored, you look at steals, you look. I think you could do that. But I mean, they do the legend thing, right? Like the first person to get to 99, they get like a plaque on the wall, and like they have. It's not MVP, but like they have a thing like that. So if you could do that, you can take the extra
Yeah.
steps to like figure out who the MVP is. I think you could definitely figure that out.
Mhm.
But yeah, we gotta move on though. We gotta move on.
All right,
So no, it's all
sorry.
good. That was a good discussion though. But Manny, what was your answer?
We're about to have a whole episode talking about 2K. Nah, I was gonna say one game that I think would have been perfect. Uh, Personally, is Metal Gear Solid 5. It's sad that like the game didn't really have like a complete story just because the whole situation with Kojima and a little like disagreeing with everybody in the party, so they just kind of rushed to release the game.
Mhm.
I think the game, like gameplay wise, is perfect. The mechanics are really great, and like I feel like ahead of its time for when it was released. Like just the way like something's handled, like the way like enemies were to like adapt to how you like go out and about. Like if you were to get like a lot of headshots on kills and everything like that, they'll start to wear more protective helmets. Or if like you do like a lot of sneaky kills or whatever, etc., they like adapt to you. And like I really like how that game was just like ahead of its time. But like I said, like the story just felt incomplete. You just get to a certain point and you're just like, that's it. And you feel like there's more to it. But yeah, I think if that game had a more of a complete story, it definitely would be like perfect.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. I don't know how to feel about that one. I don't know. Like
Yeah, I never beat
thinking
that.
about it.
Like, I got pretty far, but I didn't beat it.
Yeah, I got pretty far too. I feel like it was. I get what you're saying. Like there are certain things that could have made that game greater, but like it was above good. But at the same time, it wasn't like
S tier.
yeah, like the rest of the Metal Gears that I played. Like
Yeah.
it was
Well, like I said, I think if it had that complete story, it definitely would have been the S tier, definitely.
okay. That's fair.
Because
Yeah.
the mechanics and all that you thought was already on point. It's just literally.
Oh yeah, the mechanics definitely were on point. Like for like a tactical espionage game at that time, like the shit you could do was like mind blowing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm picking something that's a little bit more recent, very recent actually. I'm gonna go with Dying Light 2. I feel like the game
Okay.
is it's okay. It's fine. It's not great. It could have been better if the story was I don't know a little bit tighter. The game was less buggy. That would have gone a very long way. Um, I don't know. There's just something about the game. There's like an extra piece of the game that I can't necessarily pinpoint that I feel like is missing from making it like, oh my God, like I'm enjoying like exploring and doing all these different things. So the best thing I can explain is so when I play Elden Ring, and you guys may not have had this experience because you haven't gotten as far as I have, but Elden Ring, like there's this sense of like mystery to the game and it's an absolutely massive world and I just want to continue like I beat the game already and I still want to continue going. I'm gonna do New Game Plus to like go back in and play some more. And I feel like I've scoured every portion of the game because I fought every boss. I like even went back and looked at like a wiki to see, if there's some secrets and things like that I missed. I didn't miss anything. Because I really like went through systematically and like went to every crevice of that game. So when I think about another open world game like Dying Light, and it's interesting that they were just like I essentially played them back to back, so like the contrast is so real for me. I don't want to explore anything in Dying Light. Like nothing feels particularly interesting. Like they nailed the parkour mechanics, like running around, running on buildings, jumping from here to there. Shit is great. The combat is okay. It's good. It could be better. But like when you put it all together in like a package, I don't know, it's just not enough. It's like this is fine. This is a decent game. I don't regret spending money on it, but it just could have been so much better. So much better.
Yeah, I do low key because I just played it and like I don't know. I feel like I lost interest so fast in the game. It just kind of felt stale in my opinion when I first played it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Like weapons, like getting the different weapons. I don't know. I didn't feel like particularly incentivized like it's kind of like a looter in a sense where you get certain weapons that are more powerful, you get legendary weapons, epic weapons, so on and so forth. And like the weapons break down super quick, even like the higher tier weapons. Like I don't know, just when you put all of that together, it was just like,
Yeah.
On to the next one. So yeah. Dying Light 2. It was all right, but it could have been so much better. And it's like they took so long for it to come out too. So like what?
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's not the L of the year, yo. It's not like an L of the year type of candidate, but it's just like this should have been more. But it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, that's it for the icebreaker. Chris, thank you for that one this week. Especially your answer. Definitely. We still got a lot more to talk about on that one. We should
I
dedicate
really
an
do feel like we
episode.
should do that.
Yeah, we should dedicate another
God
episode.
damn it.
But yeah, let's get into the topics. Like I said, we only got 2 major topics for this week. Starting off with E3. So this year, E3 2022, we had already been told that, you know, the physical event wasn't going to happen due to Omicron, and even now it seems like there might be like a slight COVID resurgence happening in Europe, so that could make its way over here. But they officially announced that there will be no digital event either. So no E3 2022 in any form, physical or digital. Absolutely heartbreaking. I'll actually read you guys the statement that they prepared here real quick. Okay, so they had an official statement about next year, which we can talk about in a moment. But they say we will devote all our energy and resources to delivering a revitalized physical and digital E3 experience next summer. Stop me if you've heard that before. Whether enjoyed from the show floor or your favorite device, the 2023 showcase will bring the community, media, and industry back together in a new or all new format and interactive experience. We look forward to presenting E3 to fans around the world live from Los Angeles in 2023. You know what? I'm going to just let y'all start off this one. Chris, you seem to have the most visceral reaction to this whole thing, so I'm going to get your take first, man.
Man, I'm just still hurt. And it's been over a year probably since, right? Has it been over a year since we were supposed to go?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's about to be
almost 2, right? Yeah, okay.
2 years.
And I'm still, the wound is still fresh. Never really quite got over it. And then, so the thing that hurts even worse is that, like, every year since then, it's almost like you're holding out hope that, all right, can we go this year? Nope. Okay. Can we go this year? Nope. Okay. Can we go next year? We don't know, but maybe. It's like, okay. And it's like they keep playing with my heartstrings and tugging and doing all this stuff. And it's like, yo, I just want to go to one E3. I don't need to go to all of them. I just want to go to one. And then now they're taking it away. Like, if I'm not joking any, if I'm being serious, I think the only reason why it's going down like this, they've already said, they're putting the resources into next year. It doesn't make sense for them, I guess, kind of do how they want to do it this year. But on top of that, I would assume a lot of the, like, devs and stuff are going to try to do maybe some of their own stuff, like third-party-ish or whatever, or first-party, I guess you should say. And maybe after seeing the list of folks who actually wanted to utilize a digital format via E3, it just said, it might have just made more sense to just say, yeah, let's just not do it this year. Because I think a physical event, if that really does happen next year, people will be interested in that because that's a physical event and we haven't had one in quite some time. But these digital ones or whatever, if it didn't seem like you were going to have that crazy of a lineup anyways, I get it. I get why they would have been like, bruh, nah, just take that, put it to next year. And then that also kind of tells me I think they wanted to come back with a vengeance in a sense. I don't think they wanted to be, well, it can't be the same as it was before just based on proximity things and stuff like that. But on top of that, yeah, I think they want it to be bigger and better than ever. I think when E3 comes back in the physical aspect, I would reckon that particular event, the comeback event, is going to be one of their best ones they've had ever. That's just my guess. Just based on how things have went, they know people have been cool to back home watching this shit on devices. They know people are dying to come back out. Like I would just assume that they would just kind of like do it up. That's just thing.
I feel like you are a lot more positive about this than I am. I have a theory on it, but I'm gonna let Manny go next.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of weird. See E3 being canceled this year. Physically and virtually. I don't know. I feel like virtually is just not the same experience you get as physically. So I can understand why you would want to like maybe focus on next year where there's a possibility of having it physically in person. But I also feel like it's also a weird place too because like when you look at it, like a lot of events, like sporting events and everything like that, you see their stadiums, they're like almost 100% capacity and everything like that. So it's like, I'm sure there could have been a way where they could have kind of like maybe compensated to find a way to be a safer like environment. I understand a lot of people are going to be touching controls and everything like that would do with the game boosts and everything like that. Um, but I don't know. I just feel like E3 is just fading away.
Well,
It's not like,
real quick though, remember they already like cut the physical portion of it. Like they said that back in
oh yeah, I know.
January. So
Yeah, like I know that. That was when like shit was hitting the fan.
right.
But what is it called? Like I just feel like E3 is just losing its I can't even think of the word, but like it's just losing it. I would just say
I
like that.
agree.
It's just,
I agree.
it's there's we got the summer game showcase from Jeff Keighley. There's like I feel like no point of just like I feel like they should just can it. And I understand like a lot of people are gonna be like, you know, like disagreeing because like, when you think of E3, you think of like all these big game announcements about to come out and everything like that. But like honestly, it's just like the popularity is probably just fading away. I mean, maybe people will still go anyways on to do a reappear in person next year if it does reappear in person next year. But like, I mean, I feel like we just get better announcements for like Jeff Keighley show, and I'm sure now like a lot of people are gonna go lean towards him instead of like an E3 Expo because of like these cancellations and everything like that. They're not like as reliable as before.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're leaning right into my theory on this whole thing.
mm-hmm.
So the year that we were supposed to go, I believe, right? Jeff Keighley announced that he was pulling out of E3 himself. He's always been firmly planted in E3. To the point where he helped evolve the show. They started doing like different panels and like a theater that was next to E3. The 2 years that I went, he was there. He was pretty prominently involved in the show. He cited that him and the ESA had very different opinions about where the show should grow to become.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since then, I mean, even before that, really, Sony pulled out of E3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
EA pulled out of E3 years ago. Those are two big publishers right there. Big titans in this industry, essentially. They pulled out a show years ago. Microsoft's been holding pretty steady. But even then, I think the last year that I had went, I want to say it was either 2018 or 20. It had to be 2018. Microsoft didn't really have a booth on the show floor. They utilized their own theater that was like across the street, like right next to the Staples Center. They have like the Microsoft Theater there, and they had basically their E3 show floor there. So they kind of pulled out of the show too. I don't know. The writing's been on the wall for E3 for a while. Like they were in trouble before they even opened it up to the public. Hence why they opened it up to the public. And then even then, the years that I went, there were some complaints from like media people about how the show wasn't exactly the same and this, that, and the other. And I think when you start to expand on the idea of E3, like it's kind of a dated concept. Like it started off as a trade show thing where game publishers were really trying to sell their games to retailers, right? Like to understand, like, okay, like what game is going to be stocked on shelves, in the fall or the holiday or whatever. That concept doesn't make any sense anymore because you're just gonna. I mean, like I don't know, retail distribution is different now. You have digital games. Most people are going to put things out. I just feel like that aspect of E3 is dead. So then, okay, you want to turn it into a fan show. All right, fine. Like that could be cool. But when developers are pulling out and not showing off all these games, then obviously you have COVID hitting, which is a whole different situation in that of itself. I just feel like the industry has changed so much. I don't think E3 makes sense anymore, and I don't think it'll ever go back. Even though they say they want to do this physical version and yada yada yada, like it doesn't make any sense to me. And then on top of that, you have Jeff Keighley leaving and doing his own Summer Games Fest thing, and like literally, like almost like, I mean, he must have known, right? But it was like immediately as the announcement came down that E3 was canceled, Jeff Keighley tweets out, "Hey, don't forget Summer Games Fest coming to you this June." Like and he's like, this year is going to be different. We're trying really hard to make sure that everything is happening in June, basically replacing E3. That's literally like how I interpret that whole thing. So I don't know, man. It's wild to me. And they even put up like a little Q&A. I'm just going to read off some of it real quick. So a few Summer Games Fest Q&A answers. Summer Game Fest will only be taking place in the month of June with specific dates to be determined. Yes, you can co-stream all events. Participating companies, platforms, and studios in 2022 will be announced as we get closer. And there's some new elements for 2022. And I think Jeff Keighley himself even, I'm just going to look up his tweets real quick. Appreciate all the comments, ideas, thoughts on Summer Games Fest this week. We're working hard to bring the entire industry and fans together in the month of June. This isn't the path I ever thought I'd be on, but we'll keep iterating and building. Like, that's pretty ominous. But to me, it feels like, I don't know. I just feel like he's working on building something that replaces E3.
Definitely.
And I feel like it was inevitable. The ESA is not. They're just. I don't know. I feel like they're not prepared for this world that we're in right now. And I really think, I said it last year, and it seems like Microsoft tried to do some things with this, with like the ID at Xbox Showcase, where there was like a bunch of demos and things like that you could play for a limited time. But I feel like the advent of game streaming renders the idea of going to conferences like this to play new games useless. Like, I still want the human interaction. I still want to, hang out with people and all that stuff. But from a company standpoint, spending money and all that stuff, if you want to generate marketing buzz and have people try out your game, and now game streaming exists through xCloud, and like we're going to talk about in a second, they're going to expand it on PlayStation and all that different stuff. You just put out streamable demos of these games and release trailers like you normally do and all that other stuff. Like, I don't know. I just don't think. I think E3 is dead. Even though even though they say it's not dead, and they probably will end up putting on a show next year and the year after that, but the E3 that we know and love, that every like gamer fan has been like, yo, I like, that's like a bucket list thing for me. I want to go to E3. Like, I feel like that E3 is dead, and it sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeff Keighley's like, we're gonna have in-person events. No, he's not.
He is absolutely going to do an in-person event thing. I believe it wholeheartedly, and I think that the industry as a whole is more interested in what Jeff Keighley is doing. Like, I feel like Jeff has done such an amazing job around the games industry. Like, I used to say he reminded me of Ryan Seacrest because he would host and do everything for the gaming industry. But I don't think anybody works as hard as Jeff Keighley. Like, I feel like calling Ryan Seacrest is like an insult. He does so much. Like, he built the Game Awards himself from the ground up. He was even involved in G4 for like a brief period of time, from my understanding.
I remember G4 TV.
Yeah, G4 is back too, which is funny, but like we don't really talk about that enough. But G4 is actually doing its own thing too. Like, I feel like everything around what E3 used to be is just gonna get trounced by what Jeff is able to accomplish. He has so many relationships built up around the industry. He's like one of the people who got Reggie, Phil, and I forgot the guy's name from PlayStation. It wasn't Jim Ryan, it was the other guy, but he got them all up on stage at the same time, and there's just certain things that Jeff can get to happen that I don't feel like anyone else in the industry can make happen. So if he's going to be putting on a replacement to E3, I think people are really going to pay attention, and you're going to see way bigger announcements at what Jeff's doing compared to what E3 is doing. And I think you saw that last year too, right? Like, Elden Ring was like on stage for him, and it was nowhere in the E3 digital event that came about. So I don't know, man. I think it's dead for sure. Yeah. But moving on to I guess more positive news or something a little different. We got the the new PlayStation Game Pass competitor.
Don't call it that.
It's really not a competitor. I mean, it's good. It's a really good thing for PlayStation fans. I absolutely think so. but it's not really a competitor to Game Pass. We'll get into that though. But basically, the way PlayStation outlines this, they call it the all new PlayStation Plus. And instead of making a brand new service and marketing it a certain way, they basically just split PlayStation Plus into three different tiers. So the first tier is called PlayStation Essentials, PlayStation Plus Essentials, I should say. And that's basically the same PlayStation Plus that anyone who already has PlayStation Plus knows and probably loves, right? So the way that they list it is provides the same benefits: 2 monthly downloadable games a year, exclusive discounts, cloud storage, and online multiplayer. So that's what we already knew, already existed. $10 a month or $60 a year if you wanted it. So now we're getting into the new stuff, the Game Pass adjacent stuff. So you got PlayStation Plus Extras, which personally I think is the one I'm going to be leaning towards, but it provides all the benefits of the essential tier. It adds a catalog of up to 400 of the most enjoyable PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 games, including blockbuster hits from our PlayStation Studios catalog and third-party partners. So all those games are downloadable to play. So that's going to be $15 a month or $100 a year. So that's like in line with Game Pass Ultimate pricing, I believe. So, okay, sounds good. PlayStation Plus Premium now is the highest tier. So it's going to have all the benefits that I outlined from the previous two. And then it's going to add up to 340 additional games, including PS3 games available via cloud streaming, a catalog of beloved classic games available in both streaming and download options from the original PlayStation, PlayStation 2, and PSP generations. It's going to offer cloud streaming access for the original PlayStation, basically all the old PlayStation games I just mentioned. Let's see. And then also time limited game trials will be offered at this tier. So customers can try out select games before they buy. I feel like that last part is weird to lock into a paywall. I don't know. That last part is a little weird to me, but the premium subscription is going to be $17.99 or $120 a year. So aside from the fact that it's weird to me that they didn't just rebrand altogether, that's really shitty to have like a separate tier to just do backwards compatibility. That feels like a real miss.
Yeah.
Because like you already got PlayStation Plus Extra for your old PlayStation 4 games and everything like that, but like you said, you already have like backwards compatibility as is, and like more than whatever, like if anything, you're gonna have those games that you want to play on PlayStation already downloaded and already on like either on your system or just like you just download it later on your storage. It's weird also that like the premium package that they only limit to PS3 titles only streamed, whereas everything else is downloaded. And I understand like with the whole like PlayStation 3 hardware at the time, it was just like some complicated like BS that like everybody hated into like the later in the generation. So like I can understand like a little bit why it might be complicated, but like I mean, I feel like you got to like show more love to the PlayStation generation as is. I mean, I feel like that's what like kind of made PlayStation the way like I know PS2 is obviously legendary, but like there was like some banging titles on the PlayStation 3 that like carried like The Last of Us, Uncharted and all that kind of stuff. It's like, if you want to go back to those old games now, either you buy like the definitive edition of the game that they released on the PS4, or if you want to like go back to it, you can only go back to it via cloud stream. And we already know like cloud streaming can be like a little messy, especially with like latency issues depending on connections. So it just sucks that like that itself, like you just gotta stream it and you gotta deal with it. Yeah. I'm more excited for the PS2, PSP, PS1 games. Like depending on the titles they have. It's depending. It's weird because it says 340 titles from PS2, PS1, and like all those PS2, PS3 down, whatever. It's weird to see it be only 340 games, especially for the simple fact that PlayStation 2 itself had like thousands of games. So like
thousands of games.
So like you better select those games, carefully, PlayStation, or else I'm gonna be pissed off. So
I also feel like the games that are sorry, not to cut you off, the games that are worthwhile on PS3, PS2, any of that type of stuff, based off of Sony's own marketing strategies, they remade and remastered those games. So what's the incentive? Like, what's the incentive at this point?
Nostalgia. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the $30 extra a month is kind of like a stretch, in my opinion. Like, you could have easily implemented that in PlayStation Plus Extra, or put PlayStation Plus Extra as your essential.
Yeah.
And if you really want to compete with Game Pass, because like Game Pass is like all you need is Game Pass Ultimate for $15 a month, and you got everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
oh god,
I was gonna say, and it was like, between not only Xbox but like PC as well and everything like that. So
yeah. We'll get a little bit deeper into like the contrast between the two in a second. But Chris, you were gonna say something real quick?
I might have lost my train of thought, but
sorry.
No, that's all good. Overall, yeah, I don't know. For me personally, this is more of a L, I think, for me than I guess you guys, because I personally don't necessarily care to play anything that's older than PS3 or Xbox 360. I think I want to say. Anything before then, I'm good. I am good. I realized that those old ass games, I don't want to sit there and fudge around with those old mechanics and old buttons, and I don't like it. It's not fun for me. I'm totally 100% here for remasters and remakes. I don't know. Like, I know other people really get off on a nostalgia trip sometimes, and they like being able to go back and be put back in the same seat that they used to sit in when they were a kid. And I do too, but I can kind of almost get that from watching like a recap on like a YouTube video. I don't want to sit there and play with the stuff anymore, just simply because I've gotten too used to the stuff that we have now. And I just don't like going back. It feels hard. Pause. So yeah, I don't have much care. Like, I don't want to go back and play GTA 1. Like, I don't want to go back and play Fallout 1. Like, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't know who does, but like, I'm that's not me. I'm good on that shit. I don't know, bro. Like, aside from that, this it's cool, I guess. But I do agree. I think they definitely missed on a major opportunity to give it its own fresh name and fresh set of legs, and then market it in a certain way. Because then at least people would hear it and then want to go check it out. With this, is more like, I don't know, man. I kind of get the impression that they've been wanting to revamp the Plus shit for a while, regardless of Spartacus or whatever, and they just kind of use this as their opportunity to do so. And the fact that they don't have anything even remotely close to day one release type of stuff on it is it's not a competitor.
Yep.
It's just not.
And thank you for that. That kind of transitions me into really what I wanted to talk about here, was that, off the bat, they said no day one games, no day one PlayStation exclusives that are going to be on the service. They did outline a couple things that will be at launch. They said Death Stranding, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal. So Returnal is the newest game out of all those that I just mentioned that's going to be in there. So I mean, that's cool. Returnal being in there is great. If you are a more casual PlayStation player who didn't touch any of those games yet, this is an amazing service for that. Absolutely give you all that. But I don't know, just nothing about this feels different from PlayStation Now. Like I think PlayStation Now would eventually get you all that stuff anyways. You basically just found a way to roll those two things together, and that's great and all, but I don't know, I just feel like this is another one of those situations where PlayStation's hubris is getting the best of them. Like, they think that they're better than everybody else. And in a lot of ways, like, they obviously are like a world-class brand and all that, but you're behind the 8 ball on the streaming service stuff. Or, like subscription services, I should say. You got to do something to make a bigger splash than this. Like, and there was so much hype around this. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, this week there was so much hype around. There was supposed to be 3 big PlayStation announcements. One of them was going to be Spartacus, and then there was some rumor that was supposed to be an acquisition. Yada yada yada. And I feel like this has been a trend overall with like Sony fanboys and whatnot. Like, something happens, there's like a big fever pitch around it. Like, they announce the state of play, and then like the state of play actually happens. It's mediocre, and everybody's upset. Or, and then this is like another one of those things where it's like, okay, like, this is a decent service. It's a decent service for PlayStation fans. but it's meh. Like the no day one games thing is huge alone.
Yep.
Like you can't even. It's not even close to being a competitive Game Pass. And we'll see if they're able to get certain publishers to launch brand new games in there. It's possible that they may. But I don't know. Just off the bat, man, this is just a bad first attempt, in my opinion, to come for the crown.
Yeah, and even Jim Ryan said he was like, "Yeah, I don't see this being beneficial for releasing our first party games day one."
Yeah,
Like,
that's a bad look. That's you
why
shouldn't
would
even
you
say that.
you should be like, you shouldn't, just diminish it or whatever immediately. You shouldn't just avoid that. So you gotta have people at least, tease them a little, thinking that might be in the future. But
Right, exactly. But to come right out and say like
bad mark.
we think it hurts. Yeah, I think what he say exactly. It hurts the quality of our games if we're gonna put first party games in the service day and date, which is stupid. It's absolutely stupid. Because if you come correct with this and you do it the right way, you have all these like millions of PlayStation owners out there. You gotta like, I don't know, man. Like the we talked about this before, but the casual, like the average PlayStation user is much more casual than the average Xbox user, right? So you're a little less likely to buy all the games. You probably buy like Call of Duty. You buy maybe one of the bigger PlayStation games that comes out. Like God of War is like kind of one of those things that has such mass appeal that most people will buy that, but they won't necessarily buy Returnal. They won't necessarily buy Ghost of Tsushima off the bat. Like do something for like that demographic and just put that out there. Like Game Pass is killing it, man. Like what did we get in January? It was 25 million subscribers. At this point, they've got to be over that. They've got to be at least 30, 35, right? And that's just Game Pass. So that's not even like countering or adding in like the Xbox Live stuff and all that, So I don't know, man. Like they're just so behind the ball on this like subscription service thing. I feel like they could have just done a better job with this. Like it, and then also to like announce it in like a blog post. Everything about this is just underwhelming as fuck.
Yeah, and like it's pretty sad to see like the list is like, oh, they plan to include games like Death Stranding, God of War, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, and Returnal. We already have Mortal Kombat 11 in Game Pass. Returnal's meh, but I'm sure a lot of people didn't buy that anyway, so it's a good thing they put that there. I ain't buy Death Stranding, so it's a good thing they put that there too.
Yeah.
God of War was already on the PlayStation thing where you buy PS5 and they give you hella free games, so that's already something you got for free.
And then the Spider-Man games, if you're a fan, you already went out and bought those. So
yeah, if you bought a PS5 or even like start with PS4, you buy Spider-Man, then you doing something wrong.
Right, facts. Like it's just, I don't know, it's just weird. They needed the splash of getting something new in there, and that,
like if they would have, they put Ratchet and Clank, bro. Like not even Ratchet and Clank. Yeah. That game's almost a year old. Like I mean, bro, the sales app they probably would have got ready. It's like already done. Deal with it. You ain't gonna get nothing much. You're probably gonna get crumbs if anything. But like,
they don't want to do this shit. Like that's what I get from this. They didn't want to do any of this at all. I mean, I think they did want to refresh the Plus subscription shit that they had going on, but they didn't want to make a competitor. They damn sure don't have any care to put their games on a day one base. There's things here that just are screaming to me that they didn't want no parts of this at all. I think their business practices or whatever goes against whatever Microsoft is believing when they do Game Pass. You could just tell, man. Like you could tell that they brought this to whoever in these offices, and they were like, you want us to put Horizon on?" Whoever's handling this had a knee-jerk reaction, and they said, "Well, we got to do something."
Yeah, I don't know.
That's exactly what it feels like here.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I'm sure they probably wanted to put something like Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop in it, but they can't because Microsoft owns the rights.
I don't even think they would want to do that, bro. Like everything about this tells me they don't want to put anything new in there. Like anything that's newish that they could still grab, like the $60, $70 price tag off of you for. Nah, bro, they don't. Nah, I don't get the vibe that they're interested in doing any of that type of stuff.
Yeah. This is not a consumer friendly decision that they're making. They're just trying to like recoup face. I
think they're just baking in on the backwards compatibility fact of the PS2, 1, and 3 games. Yeah. Even though But like I said, I think it's just a small number. 340 games.
Yeah,
I mean,
who's
if they
playing
keep
that
adding
shit?
it, if they keep adding it in the future, of course, like like that's good for them. But like 340 games for like 4 generations is just not it. You know what I'm saying? There's too much games that is probably gonna be left out that we wish were there, and we probably won't see.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, man. I think the other thing that bothers me too about this, like again, like I mentioned, the presentation of this all is bad, but
mhm.
putting in a blog post, there's no like showcase to really talk more about the games that are going to be in there. L. Also, this is coming out in June. Why the fuck are we hearing about it now? Like I don't know. It just feels like
Yeah.
okay, guys, like we know we're getting creamed by Game Pass. Like we got to put something out there just so people know that we're trying to compete. But I don't know, man. It's like you look at the momentum that's happening on the other side with Xbox and the things that are things that are going on. Like I think initially PlayStation outsold them pretty significantly in this generation, but it seems like they're really getting back. I think that what the last 4 months, including
Mhm.
March, Xbox has been outselling the PlayStation 5 in particular. Like that's a big deal, and I'm pretty sure Game Pass is a large part of that, and I'm sure that's part of why Sony's seeing it and like, okay, we got to do something, even though the something is not really touching it. Not having that day and date is a big deal for people. It's a big deal for people, and I've
Mhm.
even seen like some of the PlayStation heads, even talking about this move, like, like it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like I'm probably gonna get it, but we want this, we want that, and then even then there's the other ones that are like drinking the Kool-Aid of, yeah, well, PlayStation can't afford to do that because their games are too good. They're gonna like they're buying into everything that Jim Ryan says, which makes no sense to me. Like that Jim Ryan
Yeah.
quote is wild, man. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me, man.
All, all I gotta say is thanks for the trials because I'm gonna play the game and be like, it's not worth it.
Here's the thing though. If it's and I feel like this is another missed opportunity. Like be clear about what trials we're talking about. Because if you're talking about if you came out and said, okay, this subscription service allows you to play trials of new first party PlayStation games, that's a different story and it makes it look a little bit more appealing. Part of me feels like that's probably not what's gonna happen, but
I heard like something. I don't know if this is probably just like a fake rumor, but I heard like the trial is gonna be like an hour long. Like, what is an hour gonna do?
I just feel like
They
not being
nickel and
clear about
dime it,
that is
bro.
such an L. I was reading all that stuff directly from the PlayStation website. So to just say time limited game trials will be offered in this tier so customers can try select games before they buy. What do those select games mean? Like give
Mhm.
us more, man. And maybe PlayStation will have a more flushed out event in June where they do talk about this. But I just feel like for as far as first impressions go, this one was mediocre. It was mid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, you guys have anything else to add? I mean, I think this is we kind of trashed this one to death. So I think
I
it's a
mean,
good place to
shit.
leave it.
Yeah.
I'm down. Like I said, I'm willing to try it. I'm probably gonna get the highest tier, but I'm not gonna do the year. I'm not gonna buy the yearly subscription until I see what I'm signing up. So
Mhm.
I'll like do like 1 month and see if it's worth it. If not, then I don't know if I'll be. Yeah.
Here's another thing too, right? How are they going to handle this thing where people have PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now?
Mhm.
Like Xbox did an amazing job about, hey, if you have Xbox Live and you have Xbox Game Pass or whatever, like there's ways that you can convert the subscription into Game Pass Ultimate and
Mhm.
extend your subscription. Like they were doing the dollar deal and like they had all types of crazy stuff to really help the growth of Game Pass. Like Xbox and Microsoft went all in on that. What's Sony gonna do? Like, are we gonna
Mhm.
get even 3 month trial or something like that? You have to imagine that they have to find some growth hacks for this because the way that they
Mhm.
presented this so far is not really it. So you have to find other ways to get people to really want to try your service. And I don't know, man. Are we gonna be getting like is Capcom gonna be in here? Are we gonna be getting the Resident Evil games in there? Like the games that are gonna
Yeah.
be in there really, really matter. And right now, I don't have enough faith in this beyond the fact that it's probably just gonna be the same stuff that's in PlayStation Now. And it's like, all right, I need more than that. I need you guys to let me know what I can expect, what quality of games I can expect in the service. And I don't know. I don't have a good understanding of that. But again, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I guess so. We shall see.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think this is definitely a good place to cap it here. We're not gonna do the little social media exit that we normally do because if you guys are watching us on YouTube, our social media stuff is right there. It's right underneath our names. You got Black
There it
Ice, you got
is.
Goop, you got May 25th. Make sure to check us out. But I will say, check out the Expansion Pack podcast social media stuff at XPack Pod on Twitter. We've been posting pretty consistently there, so that's good. We got TikTok, we got Instagram. Make sure to check us out. Thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.